10k, full send, let's go. Okay, so this race was difficult for Amy to film. I've never seen Battersea this busy before within a race. She did an amazing job for filming. Let me just put it into perspective as to how busy this loop gets. So this is the 10k race. Just before this, the 5k race started. Those runners went off before us, and there's over 350 runners that did the 5k. Then as for the 10k, there's over 650 runners that did the 10k. A loop is 2.4k's, so we pretty much do just over 4 loops of this beautiful Battersea Park, which means a lot of dodge, duck, dip, dive and dodging. That excludes the dogs that run across the other park users, so you've got to stay alert to stay alive. But hey, we live life on the edge, so let's just not fall off. Okay, as you can see here, I've got myself into quite a strong pack early on. This is just what the doctor ordered. Really nice to have some competition, and I've always said, instead of outright winning a race by far as a solo time trial, I'd much rather sacrifice the win but get pushed to my limits by other competitive runners. I mean, within reason, obviously. That depends on what the prizes are. So how cool is this? The guy next to me and the guy right behind me are both targeting sub 220s at Berlin Marathon in just under 6 weeks time. Henry, the guy with the blue shorts and Bulgarian vest just behind me now, his PB is a 2:23 at Frankfurt Marathon. Really good runner, and he's been putting in some huge 200 kilometer weeks in the build up to Berlin. And then Mo Hashi, the guy just behind him, note his name, he's going to play a key role in this race. We've had some epic duels in the past. He ran 2:21 at London Marathon this year. He's put in significant training in St. Moritz at high altitude, so he's definitely one to watch at Berlin, and hopefully we all get into a pack, and my plan is to go through halfway in around 69.50, and if we can double that, then we've bagged that sweet sub 220. This 10k ends up being such an epic race, and I'm going to have to be on top of my game if I'm going to make the podium today. Here we go through the first kilometer splits in 3:05. Absolutely on the money for me right now. And remember, that first K is all about controlling that adrenaline and just getting settled into what goal race pace is. And that's probably about right today. Gotta love some of that race day music and race day vibes, and this steam train that we formed is cruising along nicely, going around the right hand side of runners over here. I'm currently sitting in second place right now. First place, as soon as that gun went, absolutely flew. I don't even know if we caught that on camera, but Freddie is far ahead and you can barely even see the lead bike. Our pack here is for positions 2, 3, 4 and 5, but hey, it's a 10k and a lot can happen in that second half. I know the two guys behind me, Henry and Mo, are super strong runners, so I'm under no illusion that I'm going to be able to just run away from them today. For me at the moment, it's all about running my own race, but I'm glad that there are runners around to work with. So you've got to draft where you can, dodge dogs where you need to, and then go in the front and do some of the work when it's your turn. Pretty much as soon as you feel the intensity dropping off, go to the front. If the others keep up, amazing, they're feeling strong. If not, then go into the distance and run your own race. That's my mindset, that's my mentality. Let me put a few things into perspective for you quickly and give you a bit more insight into my current situation. So my 10K PB I ran pretty much 2 years ago. It's been a while now. I can't wait to get back to those levels. It was 30 minutes and 46 seconds. So we're tracking just over 10K PB time for me now. I've gone into this race with around 130 kilometers in the legs for the week. So it turns out to be my biggest mileage week at 175 Ks. So to get good leg turnover is exactly what I need ahead of Berlin Marathon. I currently weigh 75 kilograms and I'm 6'1" or 186 centimeters. You've got to be quite careful down this boomed off area at the bottom here. It gets quite narrow, so concentration is very much needed. Through the 2nd kilometer mark, on the money, once again, 3:05, feeling strong. Aerobically, I know I've got a lot more today. Physically, hoping the high mileage doesn't catch up to me in the second half. Remember, all my PBs in the past have come off negative splits, so that's really the mentality I'm going into this race with. Can I put in a negative split effort even though we've gone out the gates quite hot? And that's the mentality I'm going into my main goal, Berlin Marathon, with. I need to feel strong. I need to put in a big shift second half if I want to achieve my goal of sub 220. I know I gave a thank you to Amy at the start of this video, but I just want to thank her once again. Filming in these conditions on the bike whilst capturing such good footage is not easy. But being a performance runner herself and having done millions of laps in Battersea, she understands just how runners feel around this course. And there are sections that we cut out from the video because it just got too busy and she couldn't get there. But yeah, we always thought safety first with running, and then we'll see what footage we can get. But she did an amazing job, so thank you for that. A few runners asked me after this race, isn't it frustrating when there's lots of traffic and you have to weave around it? And my answer to that is completely not. I would much rather have a huge community of runners out here, people pushing, giving it their best, all at our own ability. Even if that means you need to dodge, you'll see I end up running 10.06 meters because you actually don't take the shortest line each time. But I'd much rather have that and lots of runners out there competing. So congrats to everyone who raced today, and thank you so much to Run Through for a great event. Through that 3rd kilometer in 3:07, still relatively happy with that. And remember, the first 3 Ks is all about active warm-up, so it's really nice to get that in the bag. And the next 3 Ks is all about concentrating and grinding because that adrenaline has now worn off. Okay, now's a good time to give you a quick update on my sub 220 Berlin training. It's been going really well. I can't ask for much more in training. Remember, it's my first build in my last 7 that I've done outside of London in the new area that I live, Winchester. Naturally, it's a lot more hilly and undulating. And as you can see right now in Battersea Park, it's like a beautiful, perfect workout loop. Nice and flat, pretty open. Whereas in Winchester, it's pretty impossible to replace Battersea, which I think can be a good thing. I'm working a lot hard for my paces. But to give you a bit more insight on race day at Berlin, I need to average 3:18 or 3:19 per kilometer. At the moment in Winchester, on my key longer runs at marathon efforts, I'm probably about 2 to 3 seconds a K slower, which is not ideal because you want that leg turnover. But at the same time, I'm working harder than I was before, so I'm hoping that harder work is going to pay off. But that's exactly why I incorporated this 10K race as well as a post-race session in Battersea, because I really need that leg turnover to get there. It's all good and well doing heels and getting strong, but if you haven't done enough leg turnover work at goal race pace, then you will fall short, especially towards the end. And falling just short this time ain't gonna happen. We have got to believe. I also decided to incorporate a post-race session today because I felt that 10k volume for me wasn't quite enough. So after this, and I'll touch base on it a bit later, but I did a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 kilometer session with 1k float in between. So in total for this day, it was 15 kilometer session plus 10k race, which is 25ks. With warm-up, cool-down and float in between, it ended up being a 37.5k day. No shortcuts, and I'm giving this absolutely everything I've got. I have been issued another elite start at Berlin, which means I'll have drinks every 5k's en route, and I need to make it count. Through the 4th kilometer mark in 3:09, so slowing ever so slightly, but still relatively happy with where things are at. It's time for me to do some work, go in front and pick up the pace a little bit. You need to concentrate almost throughout this whole 10k. Once you stop concentrating, I find that things just slip and it's hard to pull it back from there. When I did my 10k PB 2 years ago, it was on this exact route, but I must say it was freezing cold and pouring with rain. I think it was about 2 degrees. I remember having to defrost for about 2 hours after the race, but at the same time, in those conditions, that's where I thrive. So anything near that, I'll be very, very happy with. I must say I'm absolutely loving this new Adidas Best Athletics merchandise. This is a new drop that I'm wearing today, and it's definitely put a new spring in my step. Nothing is better than running in merch that you absolutely love. I always say, and I'm a firm believer, that you have to feel the part to be able to run the part and perform the best of your ability. This section gets quite busy, so it's hard to keep groups together, but you really have to anticipate what's going to happen and pick your gaps as best as possible. Okay, so let me touch base on the shoes I'm running in today. I'm running in the Adidas Adios Pro 3. I race 5k, 10k, half marathon and marathon in the shoe. In fact, this exact pair was from Berlin Marathon. It was plain white once upon a time. It's now not quite white, but there's still quite a lot of life and pop in the shoe, hence why I'm running in it today. Let's just appreciate this quick boom shakalaka en route.
Boom shakalaka!
Through the 5th kilometer split, we went through in 3:08, so around about 15:40 for 5Ks, tracking for around 31:20 for 10Ks. Can we do a negative split today? Come on. A really good alternative in the Adidas range for shorter distance races is the Takumi Sen 10. Through the 6th kilometer mark in 3:10 and really heading towards the business end of the race. Time to kick on, try and keep the intensity there. Heart rate is ticking over 170, so we're starting to work really hard. Aerobically though, I'm feeling good, and I know my heart rate max at a 5k previous this year was 188, so there's still quite a bit in the tank. I'm obviously not going to hit heart rate max in a 10k, but I know I'm feeling strong. I'm still under no illusion though that there's a long way to go in a 10k, and in these sorts of races the magic is always made in the last third. Support out there was great, and a quick thank you to everyone who supported me or our pack en route and in this video. It really keeps me fueled, so onwards and upwards. Thank you.
We will not see the stars. Come on, best up. Yes, Nick. We see you, Nick.
I always find it such a catch-22 for me because I love the support. I get so easily distracted when I just want to pretty much give everyone recognition who supports me, but at the same time I know you have to focus, you have to concentrate if you want to perform to the best of your ability.
Fight to the right as you can.
Here we go through the 7th kilometer mark in 3:09. Us three are still together, the three boys chasing sub 220 at Berlin. But there's first place still in front of us, and I think we're getting glimpses of the bike ahead. I'm not too sure if that's what it is, but let's keep pushing. What I do know is it's going to be an absolute scrap for the podium because no one is letting up here. Let me touch base on my nutrition, drink mix and how I fueled leading into this race. So the race started at 9:34 in the morning. Pretty much woke up at 6 when the little ones wake me up. Had an espresso coffee, had a Science and Sports hydration tablets, and then a Science and Sports electrolyte go drink mix. Then for breakfast, around 2.5 hours before the race, I had 2 peanut butter bagels with honey on toast, my go-to race breakfast. On the way to the race, I had water because it was a very hot day today, as well as a Beta Fuel drink mix, which has got 80 grams of carbs in. And then prior to the start, I took a Beta Fuel gel, which has 40 grams of carbs in it. I'm obviously conscious that's a lot of carb loading for a 10K, but remember, it's part of a much bigger day for me, so I needed to fuel hard from early on and remain regularly fueled throughout the race and post the session in order to perform to the best of my ability and feel strong. A common question I get from a lot of runners is, do I take a gel before a 10K race? And my answer always is yes, I do, and I'll probably take it around 10 minutes to go just to allow it to digest well before the start of the race. Fuel hard, train hard, run hard. Remember, stronger means faster, and we're after longevity in the sport. 2.5 Ks to go, 1/4 of the race left, and I'm currently in 4th position, just off podium. Things are about to spice up quite nicely. I'm feeling like I've definitely got a kick in the bank, but I know these two boys look strong. They got a kick as well, so let the fun and games begin. Before I keep quiet and I let you enjoy the business end of this race, I just want to touch base on my post-race session. It was one of my best ever training days. I was able to bank 15 kilometers of volume post-race at faster than goal race pace. So a really good training day in the bank and a step in the right direction. I would say I was just as happy with the post-race session as I was this race. Through the 8th kilometer mark in 3:11, the slowest of the lot, but I'm feeling strong. It's time to kick on. We're all still together. Business end of the race. This is what we train for. Sit back, enjoy, and let's give this all we've got. Mo in front of me just decides to make a break there, and I felt that if I tried to go with him at this stage, I ran the risk of blowing. I'm feeling strong, but let's go for a gradual wind up.
Let's go, Nick.
I'm picking up the pace now, and Mo is still disappearing into the distance, so he's absolutely flying. Henry's on my toes with just under a kilometer to go. Let's keep this intensity and drive all the way through the line. Through the 9th kilometer in 3:07. Yes, please, we're back on track and time to absolutely empty the tank this last kilometer. Remember, you can always find something towards the end when you can smell and taste those finish line feels. So let's see if we can make this last kilometer our fastest one of the race.
Final push now, let's go.
I'm currently sitting in 3rd place, and I'm too fatigued to try and find gaps and weave through the inside, so I'm deciding to go around the outside here and just not look back.
Super strong. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Here is Freddie in front of us in the black. He was the leader for a long portion of the race. We're catching him quickly, but are we going to run out of road? Let's see what we've got. He put in one massive final surge, but with the last kilometer of 3:01, by far the fastest of the race, I can't ask for much more than that.
Very fast, and our second and third place rushers coming through thick and fast.
Boom, shakalaka. Yeah, I'm smiling, I'm happy. You know what? I was hurting towards the end, but then again, if you're not hurting towards the end, you're not racing hard enough. I felt like I was comfortable for a big section. Aerobically, I was good. Obviously, legs could feel the big mileage. But yeah, 31:20-ish or so. Very, very happy with that deep into marathon training, giving ourselves a chance come Berlin. And yeah, so many runners came up to me today and said they watched my video last night as inspiration for their race today, and pretty much that's why I make it. So glad you're finding these helpful. We're in it together. Let's go.